Okay, this is the China Syndrome, 3 Mile Island, and the script. Now, you're about to join an interview here with a man by the name of Galen Windsor. Galen Windsor is an actor trying to still promote the idea and concept of nuclear weapons and nuclear power and all that nuclear hoax. But he's a little bit refined in how he scams the people. But he's going to be interviewed here on this video, and he's going to be asked about 3 Mile Island. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this, it happened in March of 1979, and it happened in Dauphin County in the state of Pennsylvania, not far from the capital city, Harrisburg. At the time, I had relatives living in that area. So I was part of being taken in by the hoax lie system. We feared for the life of our relatives who were living not far from the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant. Now, what's going to happen is that the interviewer will ask Galen Windsor a question about what happened at 3 Mile Island. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to what he says in this interview about 3 Mile Island and the movie, The China Syndrome. And we'll talk a little more about it. But listen very carefully to what Galen Windsor says.
What kind of accidents can actually happen at a nuclear reactor generator plant?
You could lose your moderator and the reactor would shut down, the control rods would stick in and you wouldn't be able to start it up. You might
he's looking down because he's trying to come up with some BS.
That would invalidate some of the safety controls. For instance, an emergency core cooling system. The only reason they put ECCS on a reactor is to destroy it. When you start these big babies up, because they're so big, you only warm them up 50 degrees an hour. And
yeah, they're big babies.
We got an emergency, throw the emergency core cooling system on like they did at 3 Mile Island 2, and you're going to thermally shock that.
Okay, mentions 3 Mile Island.
Never be used again.
Let's talk about 3 Mile Island. What really happened there? We've heard all kinds of stories about meltdown.
What really happened? Real
movies on it,
time, not REEL.
Meltdown could melt right through the earth, clear through to China, and we've seen a lot of scare stories. What really happened at 3 Mile Island? Do you know what really happened there?
Yes, I do. I followed that one very closely. In fact, I know the guys personally who wrote the script for China Syndrome and also wrote the...
Okay, did you hear it? Here, he's going to finish up. I know personally the guys that wrote the script for what? China Syndrome, the movie.
Script for the 3 Mile Island fiasco. Dale Breidenbaugh, Dick Hubbard, and Greg Miner, who used to work with me at General Electric, are the MBH associates that wrote that China Syndrome script. And not only that, remember that was the time China Syndrome came out, Jane Fonda starring, 14 months ahead of the TMI-2 accident. It was predicted in writing in New York State that that accident would happen 1 year from the date that 3 Mile Island 2 reactor started up. It started up in March 1978, and it went down March 28, 1979.
Look at the snicker! Duping delight, because he knows it's nonsense. He knows they could, quote, predict it way ahead of time. Because it's a script, he told you. He told you it's a script. The man who wrote the script for China Syndrome, the movie, also wrote the script for 3 Mile Island disaster that scared the bejeevers out of everybody in 1979. Now, what's interesting is that the movie China Syndrome came out in March of 1979. It was released March 16th, 1979. 12 days later, March 28th, the movie comes out, or 3 Mile Island comes out, another movie, and the whole world is just simply watching the movie China Syndrome. Now, why is it called China Syndrome? Because the pun was that there could be a nuclear meltdown that would melt down so far it would go all the way to China. Now, maybe you weren't raised on this concept, but I remember growing up, we'd be digging in the backyard and we'd be digging some dirt and we'd say, well, I'm going to dig a hole to China. Once again, the globe Earth, that you could somehow dig all the way down from where you're at, right through the earth and end up in China. So that's the whole idea behind the title of the movie, The China Syndrome. But it was about a nuclear power plant that was going to, quote, explode because of mismanagement in the office and mismanagement of the way things were done in the nuclear power plant. But Galen Windsor, who's nothing but another hoaxer, will actually tell you the real truth, R-E-A-L, about the real, R-E-E-L. And the script that was used for both. It was used for the movie China Syndrome, and it was used for 3 Mile Island. Now, just a personal word here. I lived through this, and like I said, I had relatives out in near 3 Mile Island, near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I remember the movie came out, and I remember having the thought, gee, that's really ironic. And that's as far as my thought went. Okay, I never put the two together and said, could it be that I'm being hoaxed? Could it be that I'm being scammed? Now, the reason for that is because I believe I had so much trust in officials, so much trust in government, so much trust in, quote, the news, that in my mind I completely dismissed it. I completely dismissed it. Now, I know better right now, and I'm trying to tell you, don't dismiss thoughts like that, because you are being duped. Look at the duping delight on Galen Windsor. Oh, he's so happy. He's duping you. So let's go back and we'll try to hear it again. I'm going to take you back in time on this interview, and we'll hear it again.
Right on the day, 1 year anniversary. In other words, with 14 months advance notice, the industry still went along with the sham. Yes, I do. I followed that one very closely. In fact, I know the guys personally who wrote the script for China Syndrome and also wrote the script for the 3 Mile Island fiasco. Dale Breidenbaugh, Dick Hubbard, and Greg Miner, who used to work with me at General Electric, are the MBH associates that wrote that China Syndrome script. And not only that, remember that was the time China Syndrome came out, Jane Fonda starring, 14 months ahead of the TMI-2 accident. It was predicted in writing in New York State that that accident would happen 1 year from the date that 3 Mile Island 2 reactor started up. It started up in March 1978, and it went down March 28, 1979, right?
Look at him laughing. Look at him laughing. He's a hoaxer. Like the rest of them, he was a good hoaxer because he tried to convince you things like, well, you don't have to really worry about radioactive materials. They're not as radioactive as everybody says. And he could touch them and hold them, and he swam in the water that was a nuclear waste, water dump or whatever, and it didn't hurt him and all that kind of stuff. So he made a lot of money duping people in a different sort of way. But just take a look at that face. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to exit this screen and we're going to take a look at, there's Galen Windsor in his older years, the duping delighter. And there's 3 Mile Island out in Dauphin County near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And here's some end of video.